Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is now having accomplished both the Senate Health Committee and the Finance Committee. It's going to take a committee vote next week, most likely to advance him to the Senate floor. Kash Patel as well for the FBI director, and then of course Tulsi Gabbard for the head of DNI. These hearings were the most controversial hearings that we saw. And I think there's a question right now, especially with Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, whether she can get out of committee. And we still don't know, because this is the Intelligence Committee, whether this will be a public vote or whether this will be a private behind-the-scenes vote of the committee.
While all of this is unfolding, I imagine there is work underway on what I think the president and many of his economic advisors have said will be kind of the primary focus for them in the year ahead, and that is on getting this Trump-era tax cut bill extended. Where are we in that process, and when do we begin to get some indication of sort of what will be in that, what won't? I know there was that meeting in South Florida where a lot of members of Congress whose districts are affected by that cap on state and local tax deduction, for instance, went down and tried to lobby the president. Where are we in that process? When do we get clarity on where it's headed?
Yeah, that's right. So the House Republican Conference met in Doral, Florida, and President Trump did talk to the group and sort of outline all of the big things that he wants to do. What they haven't yet decided on is how to go forward on the reconciliation instructions. And that's a really key, I know it's a process issue, but it's a really key part of this process. They have to pass a budget resolution with reconciliation instructions, a joint resolution out of both the House and the Senate. And right now, the House and the Senate are divided on the actual package, how big it should be, whether there should be one or two, because it's possible under the rules to do two reconciliation packages this year. And just to sort of step back, reconciliation means that a simple majority in the Senate can pass a major bill out of the Senate, which is a big deal when typically bills take 60 votes to get out of the Senate. And there are rules around what can be included in reconciliation, and it really has to do with having some sort of revenue impact or debt impact. But they can do big things, and as we saw in the past, that's how TCJA passed out of the first Trump administration. And so they really expect to move forward on tax reform before the end of the year. The question is, do they do one or two? And that really has to be decided first, I think, in the House. And we'll see that movement next week in the Budget Committee.